Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host on this podcast, How to Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I want to first welcome Andrea, who's a new member of YouTube. She was on for a second, and I want to welcome her there. I want to welcome you all. I know this is a very difficult time for you to be at, and I know how hard it is and everything, but we'll get through this. I'm here to help you. I'm a father. I have six children. I've been married 32 years. I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. And so I know it is hard. It is the most difficult thing. I too was in your shoes. I've had my daughter ripped from me, stolen from me, and she's going to be 22 this July 9th, and I've not seen her since she's 12, ever since the social worker threatened that you'll never see your daughter again. The Child Protection Service is not your friend. They are a rogue government agency, a part of social services, as opposed to um, protect our children from neglect and abuse and do family reunification. Do you need another panel?
Just for this one.
No, I got my panel here. There's one more. So I'd like to go over how we interact with this podcast. This is live. You found me on Facebook, and we're uh, broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. I hope everybody's hearing me okay. I like a thumbs up if you are hearing me okay, and if not, let me know, and I can try to fix it a little bit better. So let me think here. Um, One of the ways you can interact with the Zoom is to type in a comment about your CPS case. Um, Either you have questions or questions for a friend, or anyway, this podcast deals with the child protection services and things related to that. And so we need to keep it that way. Now, please show your name, city, state, or country and be complete with your CPS case. I don't want to go ping pong ball back and forth playing ping pong. That means I ask you a question, you give a little bit of answer back and forth. Start off with your case from the very beginning, who it involved. If it's several fathers with several children, then do so. And then what you're charged with, how they got your children, if they have your children, where you at along in your case, and I can try to help you. Now, I did mention state. I want everybody to know that we answer questions from around the world. I've had Australia and Canada, United Kingdom, a place called Ghana in South America, a little country there, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. We have Mexico, and then we have the Denmark, a country in Europe. And we have Mozambique in East Africa, above South Africa, across from Madagascar, down from Somalia. And we have Rwanda, east part, just above Mozambique, sort of in the center near a big lake in Africa. And then we've had Liberia on the west side of Africa. We've had Sweden, and that's a lot of countries we've had talk on the show here. Well, actually, text on the show. Only one country has talked, and that was from Mexico, and they were trying to get their kids back to girls in Missouri. Anyway, So that's what you want to. Um, uh, that's how we do comments on the show. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I hope you get there. Let me. I have a comments already. Hi, Nadia. Can you hear me? Okay. I started my introduction to my book. I'm writing great. I'm so happy for you, Natalie. Um, my case, the kids missing ICPC, and then yes, you're from West Hollywood, California. Are you hearing me? Okay. And Faye, hi, welcome from Richmond, Kentucky. And are you hearing me? Okay. Good, good. I'm glad everybody hears me. I just want to make sure no background sound. It's a clear reception and so forth. So that's one way. A second way to interact on this podcast is you can call me at 626-698-0990 and ask your questions. You can talk on the show. I'll put you in speakerphone and you'll be able to talk and be able to uh, healthy answer your questions about your case because I'm here to help you. I want to help you. So please call in at 626-698-0990. Now, my call in time is based, 7 days a week. In the morning, it's on at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for an hour. The only day that's different is on Sunday. I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. In the evening, I'm on at 7 o'clock at night for an hour Pacific Standard Time. So those are the 7 days a week. It's a total of 14 shows that I broadcast on. I've been doing this since October. I've talked to over 500 people from all the states in the United States and over 10 countries. So um, it is a good group of people. We have our regulars, and I welcome them. They've been saying hi to me. We have Natalia, who's writing a book. We have Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, and then we have Happy Feet. And Happy Feet, I think she is from Arizona, right? And she's dealing with the ICWA case, the Indian Child Welfare Act. That's of 1978, and that's where the American children, Native American children, are turned over to the Indian tribe, and then the tribe turns them to families, and they do reunification, and CPS doesn't get to put them into foster care. Because that's all CPS was doing with Indian children. It was a shame. It was really a scam and so forth. So we have a Happy Feet with the ICWA, Natalie West Hollywood, and Faye with Richmond, Kentucky. And they all have phases and stages of their children and how they're supposed to do it. The ICWA is supposed to help, not hurt, and it's supposed to take away the stigma because you'll find that the CPS, the Child Protection System, is very corrupt. They're not transparent. They're out there for strictly the money. And so that's the second way. Now, a third way is if you want to be a guest on my show, and all you do is contact my producer to be a guest. Now, what you do there is our producer is Grace. She's our show producer. She works behind the scenes. And her email is grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you'd email her which one of the 14 shows you want to be on. You want to be on my Sunday show in the evening, just tell her Sunday evening, or Wednesday morning, or Tuesday afternoon, or Tuesday evening. So it's either evening or morning, Monday through Sunday, and you just pick and send her the email. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now I'm going to put my phone number back on because that's the one that people have a hard time remembering. So I'll put that on. We have some more comments here from Natalie. She says her book is called Little Flowers and Children at Light of Light. Little Flowers and Children of Light. That's a pretty name, Natalie. That's really pretty. I'll show that Department of Children's Services that implementation Zionists exist in the Department of Children and Family Services. Um, so, as you notice, there's different acronyms all over the country. I know in Arizona it's DCS, Department of Children's Services. Other states it's different. I call it CPS, Children Protection System, the Child Protection System. The Child Protection System refers to all the arm of social service that deals with the protection of children from neglect and abuse, and the family reunification. Because no other parents, the biological parents, are the best parents the kids need to be in. It's been proven time after time again the biological parents are the best parents to put children in. Not foster care, not um, adoptions or anything like that. So that's the best ones. And a lot of you can avoid your trafficking of your children into foster care by right away insisting that if they're going to have to take your children, that they place them with next of kin. Next of kin is family members. That could be out of state, and um, the ICPC, which is a private entity, can help them be transported if they're in another state and safely. That's what the purpose of that program is. And that should come on early on if they think they have to take your children because of um, severe neglect or abuse, meaning that they feel it's extreme enough that they need to transfer children. In my case, it wasn't the case. It was not the case at all. Um, my case was a hard one. I had lost my job in 2010 through fault of my own, and for 5 years I was constantly answering CPS with questions about how I was taking care of my children and so forth. I was laid off through no fault of my own, and my in-laws I did not know were the ones calling in every day to CPS, and they must investigate every call in within 24 hours. And they also assume that you're guilty until you're proven innocent, which is totally wrong. You should be innocent till you're proven guilty. And CPS doesn't work like all the other agencies do or the other courts or so forth. So you're guilty, and when you're guilty, they're going to come down hard on you. They're going to try to use the police to come to your home to try to fool you, to trick you to give up your child. If they're not in imminent danger, you don't have to give them up. Also, you do not have to let them in your home. You don't need to talk to either the police or the social workers. Be courteous. It's yes, no answers, but you don't have to talk to them. And they have to have a warrant to come into your home to take your kids or to inspect your home or to talk to you. And it's a legal document signed by a judge with a wet signature and an embossed stamp that has a raised part of the paper. So you know it's very legit. And on there, it's got to be very descriptive. It's got to give the name of the person who's going to, the address of the house they're supposed to investigate or to take the child from, the date and time they're supposed to do that, the kids' names and the allegations should all be on there. And they usually use the police as intimidation. And so that is wrong. That is totally wrong. I mean, intimidations is not what it's supposed to be. So I'm telling you, you have to be really careful with these social workers. Now, does anyone want to talk about anything tonight before I get into my rules? I have 4 rules that I talk about every night. I can talk more about my case. Also, there's topics I can talk about too. But I'm asking you if anybody wants to talk about anything or have me explain something or tell you my experiences. Faye has been really helpful the last couple of days. She's given some nice topics to get to. Let me see here. few feet from Arizona, ICWA. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Natalie, that the court is radically motivated. If you guys really want to know who social workers are, all you have to do is type uh, um, into the internet and search. And what you need to look for is a um, year 2022. You want to go to Prescott, Arizona, and you want to look up the Pink Ladies. Now, these were 8 social workers that 8 social workers that decided to get pink T-shirts and on the front have it stenciled. Um, we were professional kidnappers, and on the back they had it where uh, you know where your children are at. With that being said, uh, that was a horrible, and they paraded, by the way, at Walmart and various other places, and they have also been really um, really give you the idea that the child protection social workers are defunct. No one in their right mind would parade around with T-shirts that says "professional child kidnappers," or on the back, "Do you know where your children are at?" That is all wrong. There's something wrong with it, and these pink ladies were fired, as well as the director, and they left them with only one social worker, a guy that's handling all the social cases in Prescott, Arizona. So that if that doesn't tell you what social workers are, there's another story that has been circulating this past month. A social worker from Chicago, Illinois, put on her Facebook page, reprinting an ad from 1848. That was before the Civil War. There was an ad that said black children for sale. And that is a gross statement. Why would a social worker in Chicago, Illinois, put on her Facebook the year 2024 that black children are for sale? And she's a black woman. So it doesn't even make sense. I have no idea why she did that. But you can look that one up too. That just happened about a month ago. So I I feel sorry what you guys are going through because it's really bad. It was bad when I was involved too. So you got the idea what these social workers are, and if that's not further enough, just think of Alice in Wonderland, and Alice is in her backyard, and she falls in the rabbit hole, and she goes through all these rooms that go nowhere. People saying off with their heads, crazy statements. That's what the CPS social workers are. This child protection system. They're crazy. They don't like parents. They don't like seniors. They don't like elder people, and um, they're anti reunification. They don't want the family reunification. And it's all boils down to money. Money is what makes them go. It's an $80 billion business. I said billion, just as much money as we give to the war in Ukraine. And they're making that money, and they give it to all the states from the federal government, who in turn give it all to the counties. I know in my case in Orange County, each child was the CPS social workers were receiving $20,000 per child. That's times three. That was 60,000. Now, if you have 100 families with 3 children, that's $6 million in 1 month. That's ludicrous. From one agency in California, getting $6 million for 100 families with 3 kids in each family. So I'm telling you, it's all about money, and that's what they want to take you. And you have to be heads up. I also say that You need to get an attorney because I think dealing with CPS, and most people will testify, it's just like open heart surgery. It's very critical. It's very hard, and they they are really uh, difficult to deal with. They lie, they're deceitful, they're not transparent. They actually retaliate. They did that with my daughter too. So these social workers, don't trust them. They won't be your friend. They'll get you to sign papers and make promises. And they don't keep the promises. So I'm telling you, you gotta be really careful. Um, I have a person in the room. I think about him for the guy Chinese thing. I think that's Anthony. I forgot what Anthony state is from, but I think he's from California. Did anyone hear about the new lottery pass about probably cause for removing children? Supreme Court vote 60-3. I didn't hear about that. I wish you could tell us more about that. So there's a new lottery pass about uh, about the probability cause for removing children, and the Supreme Court voted, I guess, 6-4 and 30 or three against, or I don't know if that's for or against, but if it's 6-3, it didn't pass. So, or if it did pass, it passed 6-3. I don't know. And so you can call in if you want to talk about that. I think his name is Anthony from San Bernardino, California, if I'm not mistaken. Glad to have you here and so forth. That leads me to my rule number one. Um, you need an attorney. I've already talked about it's like open heart surgery. And if you know open heart surgery, you're not going to yourself open your chest. You're not going to have your family member open your chest, a friend. You're not going to have a plumber or auto mechanic do it. You're going to get a professional doctor, someone who's been to medical school, that's done an internship, and has had a mentor for a teacher to follow. So I highly recommend you going um, to get that attorney. And I have a number you can start with. It's 888-888-6582. It's the law office of Vincent W. Davis Associates. And Mr. Davis will take consultations for 30 minutes about your case. He only charges $60. It's $2 a minute. So that's 30 minutes of consultation, and he'll help you navigate, steer you in the right direction, and tell you how to save your children. If you like him, you may want to hire him. He'll tell his retainer and how many charges. He goes everywhere. He does Southern California, Northern California, and all the 50 states. He's a fighter. You can't go wrong with him. That's 888-888-6582. And just tell them that Bob Pace sent you when you call in the office to schedule a time. And when you do talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And it's really important that you get an attorney because the court appointed attorney is a wasted cause. It's not going to be. It's not going to be something that is good. Um, Another way you can contact Mr. Davis is to go online to Candlely, Candely. That is CALENDLY.com / law office of VWD / Bob Pace. That's his calendar, Mr. Davis's calendar, and you can schedule a time with him. I really want to thank Mr. Davis for putting this podcast on. Um, you know, he puts a lot of money and time. He has a podcast himself, so he's the key to your success. I hired him. I got my two of my three children back. I waited too long. My girl, she's not going to come back, and my two boys did. And it was 3 years that we had to fight. I had to sell my home and use the proceeds of my home to pay him. And um, you need to talk to him. Strategy. It's not going to waste your time, and it's really good. It's really, 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 really good. All right. So get Mr. Davis. He's your attorney. He's a family dependency attorney, 35 years. He's a trial attorney. He has won civil cases against CPS, both state and federal courts. Now, we've had several talk to you. We've had Faye and Natalia. Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. Natalie from West Hollywood, California. The Guyanese Chinese Flair, I think he's from San Bernardino, California. And then Happy Feet is from Arizona, and she has an ICWA case that she's trying to settle or do. So, again, it's really, really important that you get a hold of Mr. Davis. He will really help you. Um, and Natalie says, thank you. 3, I guess. That's great. Thank you, Natalie. Um, so that's rule number 1. Now, rule number 2 is you need to do a notebook. You need to do a notebook. It's a 6-inch binder, 3 inches thick. You need to stuff it full of notebook paper and write down things. And also get subject tabs to put in because you need to organize all your paperwork. You can't leave them on post it notes or envelopes or miscellaneous pads of paper. You need it all organized. And so, what you want to do is that you want to get this notebook. And with your subject tabs, the first one I would do is called the incidents. Incidents are anything related to your CPS case the um, that involved your children and you. It could be the police, it could be the social workers, it could be a lot of things. So you put down the incidents, you put the date, the time, the location, and the people involved with the incident. Next line is what the incident's about, just summary what the incident was about. The third line is the outcome. What was the outcome of the incident? It may take time that you'll have to come back later and fill that out. So that is important. That is important. Um, so that's my rule number 2. Don't forget to use highlighters. They help out if you highlight things. And also, you need to keep all your paperwork in line. Faye the other day brought up about your medical records, and you got to keep them organized because they're going to try to take away your children. There's a birth certificate. You got to have your birth certificate with your names, and you get that from the hospital at birth. Don't let them try to con you and take away that because they'll leave it blank. Uh, they'll order one from the hospital and they'll leave the mother and father blank so they can put foster kids in there. So be really careful. But you need to have a birth certificate that has both the father and the mother's name. And that is very, very important there. Um, and also, another subject tab besides the birth certificate stuff, it could be the parenting classes. Another tab could be the program classes like anger management or the drug rehab program. Another tab could be your list of all your medical records that that you have. It could also be all the drug tests you've taken, or also you're seeing a therapist or something, your medical exams and things of your kids and you. So you really need to do all that. It's really important. And I recommend that. I recommend that. Um, So rule 3 is really important, just like rule 1. You need to get an attorney. They'll set your mind at ease if you have an attorney. Then rule 2 is the paperwork. Now rule 3 is always a hard one. A lot of people have problems. Then rule 3 is do not talk to social workers or police. Try to answer yes, no questions. Don't let them take your children. Don't let them in your home. And that's the thing about the home. The home is your castle. And you shouldn't answer the door because you never know who's on the other side of the door. In fact, there's a young man at 23 that was killed in Gainesville, Florida. He was shot 5 times in the chest when he opened the door, point blank, by the sheriff. And he died talking to his girlfriend on FaceTime, which was really sad. Which was really sad. So, if all best, hide in your home. Don't answer it. If someone wants to get a hold of you, they have your number or they have your address. They can mail you something, but just don't. There may be a card on your door. You can look at it later. If you're outside and you run into the social workers and you don't feel comfortable, just say, look, before we go any further, I need to talk to my attorney. You have a right to be represented by an attorney at any legal proceedings. And so if social workers or the police are trying to hassle you, just say you want to speak to your attorney. And either arrest me, or if I got stopped in a car, give me a traffic citation or arrest me. But you don't need to talk to them. And you want to talk to your attorney. And they don't know if you don't have an attorney, so you can say that. Natalie says she found an organizer today. The lady that owned it was so busy with makeup and lunch. Okay. Natalie also says, but the notebook needs to refer to Department of Children's Services, parenting classes, psychological tests, etc. Yes, that's what I said. It all relates to your CPS case, the Child Protection System, and you carry it with you at all times. You carry it with you at all times. And that's good, Natalie. Thank you for listening there. Now, we've been talking about Rule 3, which is not let them in the house, and they're going to try to do that. And if the child's in imminent danger, meaning that if there's domestic violence going on, they're arguing and yelling in front of the children, or they're slamming the child against the wall, or there's a shooting taking place, or stabbing or something, they're going to interfere. The social workers and police will come in and take your children away. But they have to have what's called a court warrant to talk to you, to take your children away, to inspect your home. Do not let them inspect your home. They're going to sit there and try to either plant something in your home that could be bad news, or they're going to say something that never was found in there. So there's no reason to have your home inspected. It's just going to add more trouble to you. Now we have a new person. I've not seen this person called Chill Out 1000. Good evening. I'm hoping you can help me understand why the government would be removing children from good homes. It's called a money thing. It's they usually go after people low income or who've lost a job, like I did. I lost my job, and they can see I had a big house payment to pay, and they were trying to get my children for the money. It's all about money, and they won't go after someone that's got lots of money or has an attorney, but they go after the easy prey, people that are low income, people that maybe not have as much education with CPS or anything there, and it's not necessarily the government. The agency now has taken a sort of a strong arm to things, and they just want to take your children to get the money there. So I'm glad you are there. Chill Out 1000. What city or state or country are you from? And Natalie says, welcome. Don't let them into the house to check out the house. Agreed, Natalie. You're right. Don't let them do that. That's right. So rule number 3 is no to the police, no to the social worker. Don't let them in your home. Don't let them take your children. They have to have a court order. That also goes when you have to go to the hospital. There's medical trafficking that takes place. If your child's terribly sick and you're worried, you take them to the hospital, be heads up because they'll try to get CPS involved and take your children. They also try to take your children if you're having a children, you're birthing your children at the hospital because maybe they tested you and you're positive or whatever reason. They'll try to take the 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 child at birth, which is wrong. You should not. They should not do that. So rule number three is a big one. It really is a big one. I mean, there was a case that someone called in. The mother was going through surgery at Boston Hospital, and so ahead of time, she dropped her kids off with her grandmother over in Rhode Island, which is next door. Well, the social workers found about it, and for whatever reason, they thought that was wrong. I don't know if you have to let social workers know if you can drop your kids off, at the grandmother where it is. But they went to Rhode Island and took the child from the grandmother. I could not believe that. Here they are, they're working in the state of Massachusetts. They went to Rhode Island. There ain't social workers there. That's how blatant these social workers and how bad they are. So I'm telling you, you got to be really careful of that. You got to be really careful of that. Um, so rule number four, and that one is something I just instituted newly, and it's to get to know who you're fighting against. You need to research because Kentucky is different than California. California doesn't require any college degree to be a social worker, and they don't have any training for social workers. They don't even mentor. They don't have license. Where in Richmond, Kentucky, they have a license. They have training. They need to get a college degree in social work. So it's different. So you need to research where you live. So you just say CPS in Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, CPS in Phoenix, Arizona, CPS in El Paso, Texas, CPS in Atlanta, Georgia. And you'll see all the things. You need to find out how bad the agency is, what their is, what their hot points are, how can you get your children out, and so forth. So you have to do a lot of research. And the internet is your ticket to getting your kids back. Use it. There's a lot of information in there. A lot of things can help you about forms and how to do certain things. So that's my rule number four. So I've talked about rule one, get an attorney. Rule two, do your paperwork. Rule three, say no and don't let them take your children. And rule four is to research the internet about CPS case that you may be involved in there. So chill out 1000. I still don't know what city or state you're in. It'd be nice if you could share that with us. Um, and I appreciate all the feedback I got, Natalie from West Hollywood. She's glad. I'm glad to hear from Happy Feet, who has an ICWA situation. And no, I think that, let me see, is that Natalie? Yeah, Happy Feet, yes. Um, yeah, I heard about that too, Happy Feet, about a social worker in the news that has had problems with a young boy there. The Vietnamese Chinese flair, I think, is Anthony, and he's from San Bernardino, California. Of course, Natalie's from West Hollywood, and yeah, Happy Feet was the ICWA part, and she's from Arizona, and Faye is from Kentucky, uh, Richmond, Kentucky. So we have about 20 minutes left of the show here, a little less than that. Actually, we have 14 minutes left of the show time. It's important. You guys can still call in to 626 698 0990. Keep your comments coming in. I love to hear from you. I love your emojis. I love your review and so forth. Uh, but don't trust social workers. Don't let them tell you one thing and they do another. It will hurt your heart out. There's so many problems they make, and they don't care about ripping your heart about. So I'm telling you, you really got to be on top and be on your game with social workers. They are really bad news. So, uh, so you wouldn't have any questions so far. I have some topics I'm going to get into, and um, Faye, did you have any topics? I know that you always come up with some great topics there. If you wanted to talk about something and about what's the latest with you, um, they're going there. Or Natalie, I know that you have a lot going on too, so that is good to have you there. You're going to explain. Okay, what are you going to explain? I think you're going to explain the support of Zionism and ABD terrorism. I have no idea what that's got to do with um, CPS, but I'm all ears. I'm all ears, Natalie. Hmm. Okay, we have a caller. Um, hello,
Hello.
caller.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Natalie from West Hollywood.
Yes. Yes, it's
Okay.
Natalia. Yes. Hi, Bob.
Hi, glad to hear from you. What do you have to tell us tonight?
Well, because I was listening to the radio about how the Israeli and the Palestinian war is going, and basically what they're doing is like for the 501c, that's like what is it?
A
Non-taxable.
501c is a classification for volunteer organizations
Right. So
to,
basically, they're funneling money to traffic more kids through that war than and bringing them back and forth.
now, how is
They
the
can't
501c with CPS? You're saying that
because the
someone is created.
501c's they don't if they traffic more kids through that they get it tax free.
Well, wait a minute. The organization's got to identify themselves. So, what is this organization?
We don't know. They're just part of this thing, and I was listening to the radio like 2 weeks ago about it, and what they're trying to do is like alienate more kids to the trafficking. So they're increasing
Well, if they
like
are
funds
doing
for the war and
trafficking,
stuff.
they won't be eligible for a 501c. The IRS will catch them.
Right, but now they passed a law saying that they can be exempt for something like that. It's easier to traffic them.
I don't know about that trafficking. I know that CPS traffics kids, but I don't know
Right.
this.
So
What's the
basically,
name
they
of
get
this
tax free the
organization? This,
FSA agency, so they're able to
yeah.
support something like this.
Does this agency have a name, Natalie?
No, I don't know, but I know they're 501c.
Well,
So this is why
501c
we have a
is a
concurrent history
classification
of all these
requiring whether
problems.
you report to the IRS your taxes. See, a
Right, but
501c, they don't have to
they'll
pay
have a new law
taxes.
where they don't really have to.
Well, you need to know the organization. It's got to have a name so that way you can call the
Right.
IRS and track them down.
I don't know their names, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, well, wherever you heard the source.
And also, what they do is they want to kidnap more kids in other foreign countries, or they want to kidnap our kids and bring them to foreign countries, so they can like be what is it like drug smugglers.
Well, in
Or
my
something.
neighborhood in Orange County, I live close to the Port of Long Beach and Port of LA. And there's containers
Right.
that go back and forth. And we are the number one trafficking uh, in the country, in the world, is right here where I live. And the way that adults and young children and so forth are being trafficking, they're being drugged, put in a van, and then hauled off to the boats to be put in a container.
Are these
And then,
adults or children?
I'm sorry, what?
Are they children or adults?
They're
These
both.
people that are
They're
being
both.
attacked and
Young
trafficked.
children are taken into prostitution and sex. The older
Right.
children and the older adults are taken into being servants for wealthy families.
Oh my.
And so, if
So it's
you're
a
a woman
Chinese
of
family or a Mexican
26,
family they're
your
bringing in?
chances of being a maid are pretty good, and you're taken off.
Right.
So I don't know. You're going to have to investigate that further, and that's on. That's really about child trafficking. I don't want to take it away because CPS. We need to deal with the issues close at hand with CPS. How to do family
Right.
reunification, and how to be heads
Well, the
up.
family reunification, they give you like, I think, up to 6 months for an infant and up to 18 months for not an infant in California.
What's this about the time limit in California?
The time limit in California to reunify for an infant is like a baby is 6 months, and usually they don't want to reunify you with your baby. They want to just adopt the baby real quickly. In my case with my son, she just didn't want to give me reunification at all. He was a
Well,
baby.
that's why you need an attorney. Your attorney is the one that's got to stop
Right.
that. You got to stop that because, if you care enough about your children and you want them back and you care enough to do the parenting classes and the programs and become a better
Right.
parent, then you definitely are the candidate for having your children back. That's wrong.
No, it's wrong, and that's what she did. She said it was fruitless
Yeah.
to have reunification. And I appealed it too. I was like, fruitless?
Well, it's
Like,
never fruitless. It's how hard you want to try and how hard you want to work. It's not an easy go.
yeah,
It
I
is
did
not an easy
everything
go.
that they asked me to do. So I find that this is why it's motivation through money and racism and imperialism and
Okay.
Zionism.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
that's what I've researched.
Okay.
And basically, they don't want us to have our children is because they want to propagate their ideologies upon us
Well, that's
and
a
then make
theory, and
our
that's a
children
big
into
battle to
their
fight. Yeah.
victims
I think that's a big
and
battle to
us.
fight. It's like us trying to make changes in Congress about CPS. It really is
Well, the
hard.
thing with Congress is that because they're motivated by lobbyism and so forth, they will not change. It's a
Well, I think it's
corporation
all
in the
about
United
money. I
States.
think you know what it is, Natalie, is about money. It's
That's
all
right. It's
money.
about money. So every vote we make, we're just supporting them to steal our money and children.
Yeah.
They promise us all these things, but just I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's your case going, Natalie?
Well, I'm still looking for the ICPC. I'm also trying to look. I'm going to go at end of the week to the law library. I wasn't feeling very well, and tomorrow's very stressful because they're going to trim the trees on the side of my house because the gal next door, she's just being nasty about it,
Okay.
or sure she
All
didn't
right.
know, and so like basically like code enforcement, they're getting crazy about trees on my property, which they're not on public property.
Okay. All right. All right.
I mean, they're big, but I just don't want them like getting invasive about. Luckily, I had the gate closed and everything, and they cleared me for my plants in the front, and people like my plants, so I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the gardener did not show up on Saturday to help me organize my planters, which made me angry because
Mhm.
I take that to
Mhm.
it's ridiculous. But
Okay, we have
I find it offensive that if you would be offended by my plants, but you should be offended because you took my kids out of that window on the right.
right. We
That
have
garden is
about
dedicated to my kids.
4 minutes left of the show, Natalie. What else did you want to discuss or talk about?
I just want to ask everybody: when you file a 388, do you put like pictures in it?
Well,
I'm not
okay.
sure
A
anymore.
388 form is used in California. It does not necessarily say 38 every state, but the form is a
Right.
petition. And it's to show cause when you have new info about your case or you completed your classes and you want to have a hearing with the judge. The judge has to, within 30 days, set up a hearing, and you need to present your case before them to show the new information that you have. And that could be in a lot of states. It just says an order to show cause. It's not
Right.
necessarily a
It's to prove new
388.
evidence. But yeah. But also, when you have your 388, you should like kind of have like something more detailed. But I never knew that you could probably take pictures. But I wasn't sure yet.
Well,
But you
it's
can
again,
file like
if
another thing.
if you're going to do a 388, you need an attorney to help fight for it. And I'm not
Right.
talking about a court-appointed attorney. I'm talking about a
Right.
real,
The
you know,
court-appointed attorney, it depends. Some of them are okay. Mine
well,
was
no, it's a
okay,
waste of
good,
time. They
but
won't do
you know,
388s. They won't do 388s. A court-appointed attorney.
yes, the motion to request evidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have Chill
Now
Out
I was
1000
interested
says something new
in
here.
the
Hold on a
that
second,
judgment that they
Natalie.
have in the
Yeah,
Supreme Court, but
Natalie, I
he
have to
didn't
work
call
in
in.
other people in the show. Hold on a second. Chill Out
Okay.
1000 just says, I'm a foster parent of a teenager whose mother claims that DCF is lying about her. I don't know the woman, but I I love the kid, and he loves his mother. She is poor and relying on a public defender. Well, good luck because a public defender is a waste of time. They have a caseload of 30 people. They're not fighters. They won't help you. She further says she's gone through several attorneys. I'm honestly just trying not to write her off as crazy and give her the benefit of the doubt. Some research to see if others have issues with CPS. Oh, yes, they do. Chill Out
Yeah.
1000. I don't know what city or state or country you are, Chill Out, but I'd like to know. That helps me an idea there. I got about 1 minute left, and I want to thank everybody, including you, Natalie, for calling in. Chill Out
Thank
1000.
you.
Thank you for your information and
Thank.
sharing.
That's the
And
information,
yeah,
and
and
I just started the intro to my
right,
book, and I made all our prayers today.
right,
So
right. Now,
I
Happy
pray for
Feet, I like
everybody.
to thank you for calling in. Happy is the girl from Arizona with the ICWA
Happy.
problem. Then we have the San Bernardino
Don't forget
guys.
Iqua.
Anthony, Chinese flair guy, he came into the room to talk, which was nice. And then, of course,
Thank you.
we had Faye. And I love to have Faye here. She's from Richmond, Kentucky. So, all of you, I thank you.
Bye.
Keep fighting your case. And this is Bob Pace signing off. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Thank you.